I'm familiar with Opportunity Corridors. I understand it. It's a construction project to link 490 to Cleveland Clinic and the University Circle area. And so my focus has been how do we connect the persons both in terms of the construction phase, but also in terms of the commerce going forward so that the road, the throughway, does not become a throughway to the city to ignore the people.
What is the purpose of that particular project?
Because I know they didn't call it Opportunity Corridor for nothing. There's some opportunity out there, but for who?
It's a new strategy to figure out how to create a great neighborhood for the people who live there and bring in jobs and make sure we build a high quality of life for residents.
I first heard about Opportunity Corridor through my church and from Terry Hamilton Brown. They wanted to tell the community that they were looking at this unfunded project, but they needed to let the community know that that's what they wanted to do. Little did I know, and later on found out, there's always been a plan for the Opportunity Corridor.
Okay, the 490 wasn't there. It's located off of 55th. It's a short stretch of highway, and it went dead for a long time. When I use the terminology went dead, they stopped the construction completely. So what it sounds like now, maybe 20 or 30 years later, they're in the process of redoing or completing what they had started to do. I have to think about who or what group of people will it impact the worst.
There's that term forgotten triangle that has been often invoked to identify or label that part of the community.
When people want certain areas to live, they have to find a way to displace the people who are living there, okay? That's what you see with Opportunity Corridor. Why Opportunity Corridor? The convenience of coming in. Urban renewal, we're renewing, but not necessarily for the benefit of the people who are already living there.
It's going to impact poor people because it's going to displace some folks when they cut that road through there, and some businesses, I'm sure.
Yeah, I can remember back then when we was coming up, we used to talk about that, and I used to hear my cousin, uncles and them talk about it. As far as them, they were saying then that the projects we just here temporarily because they was making plans back then to move all us back out to the suburbs and start tearing the projects down and mostly moving all the white folks down on the strength that we is so close to downtown.
So originally, the original conception of this road was as a freeway that would connect the west side of Cleveland to all the way through Pepper Pike and then to 271. And it would have been a disaster. It was a disaster not only for the neighborhoods in Cleveland, but also for Pepper Pike. It would go through Shaker Lakes and take out 1,000 more houses and 300 or more businesses. So fortunately, people really came together and fought that.
ODOT, Ohio Department of Transportation, held a meeting at Elizabeth. The Scene magazine showed up. Of course, our parishioners were there and people from the community came to hear about the plans. Eventually, the route followed closely along the rail line, but it also cut through some of our neighborhoods. Cut through, obviously, Garden Valley, Central, Buckeye, Slavic Village it ended up in, Fairfax. In fact, Fairfax is a neighborhood where they've already begun to work.
And then you have to ask, why is Opportunity Corridor there? It's for the convenience of the people who work in University Corridor. It's not for the people who are losing their homes and not benefiting from the jobs.
Well, you know, thinking back to maybe 30 or 40, even 50 years ago, not only here in this urban area we're speaking of, but across the nation, in these large urban pockets, black people are being disproportionately shifted from one area to another.
In other words, I think this is a opportunity, or it can be a tool used to implement segregation and racism in America.
So you come in and you give residents X number of dollars, 30,000, 20,000 or whatever, 18,000 some of them for a house. Then what happens? Where do these people go? And what someone who sat at the Opportunity Corridor Inclusion Committee said, we'll give them a voucher for Section 8. So, and what we see, and it just left the Supreme Court this summer, is that what's happening when they're giving them vouchers now, they're moving them into the suburbs.
People, what do people think? I find myself getting choked up about it. I'm not exactly sure why.
You know, it's a part of the development. This is what they got planned. You know, it's all planned for us. You know what I'm saying? And us, as us being a lot of, well, poor and middle class people, we can't do nothing about it. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no choice but to accept it. You know.
So how do the residents of Garden Valley feel about Opportunity Corridor coming through their neighborhood? I think initially they were very angry about it. I think they'll become more resigned. You know, it's kind of like, well, we don't have very much that we can do about it anyway, so, okay.
My real question is, and I will always be asking, so where's the opportunities for me as a business person, as a resident? What opportunities are available?
So one of my strongest memories about the community is a meeting that was held, a public meeting that was held by Representative Sandra Johnson in the fall of 2014. Anyway, the room was packed, it was hot, it was like 200 people, and there was so much fear and emotion, and it was fear on both sides. It was nobody's ever going to invest in this neighborhood. This neighborhood's been forgotten and left behind. Or there's going to be investment in this neighborhood and I'm going to lose. It's not going to be for me. I'm going to be pushed out because things are going to get more expensive.
And they wanted to hear from the community about what we thought.
But what about the houses that need to be fixed up in the area so we can have a place to live? But they rather take our land and push us out, and it's kind of sad.
Well, my first thought is we know it's probably going to take place whether we want it to take place or not. So the next question is that how many blacks will benefit money-wise, economically from that project?
So I was not happy, nor a lot of people were happy about what we heard, because we were looking at chokeholds in the street. We were looking at how the physical infrastructure of our neighborhoods was very poor. And if you were going to do a big highway project or road project like this, you best believe we should get those jobs.
Yes, I've been going to the meetings and so forth. All they have to offer are jobs in construction. And many of the people don't realize that after the road is built, there won't be any more jobs left. So that's another little token piece.
My concern about Opportunity Corridors is that, one, the jobs that are available for the construction will not go for the persons who are residents in the city and for the areas that are most depressed.
When I drive down the road, when you drive down the road, we're going to see all whites doing those jobs. That's almost a given.
I think it's a good thing in some ways, because we got to get rid of the old and introduce the new, but it's got to be done in a fair way. I mean, I think it's very bad that they don't provide for the people that they're gentrifying, or that the provisions that they make for those people is less than adequate.
And I think that the jury's going to be out on it for a good while, you know, in terms of, does it live up to its name of Opportunity Corridor?
You know, so somehow my whole thing is, how do we wed all of this? You know, I'm not anti-Opportunity Corridor. I'm just saying we want a piece of that for the people who need it and the people who are being affected by it. That's what I'm saying. So my role is to advocate for that piece, for giving the people jobs.
So what's really important now is for us to be vigilant to make sure that the work that is being done now and over the next 2 years involves persons who live in the city. And one of my concerns is that I don't see any strong momentum within the city to make sure that persons who live in the city and persons who need the jobs the most are given the opportunity.
You know, will the project create new opportunities for that neighborhood? I think it remains to be seen.
I don't think it's, I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea. I would be curious just to see it, just to see how it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, coming from off the freeway, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got to make no lefts and no rights. You can just keep straight on, you know what I'm saying, to your destination. But I would like to see that.
One of the worst things that could happen would be to create a bridge over the neighborhoods, which I think is a possibility if the persons in the city are not engaged.